Okay, we'll get it right, okay? Okay? So, we have discussion on the amendment. Would you please call the roll, Kristen?
Tony Reese?
Yes.
Ralph Boone?
Yes.
James Whitener?
Yes.
David Thompson?
Yes.
Kara Stack?
Yes.
J.E. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mark Stephen Fowler?
Yes.
Ann Kimes?
Yes.
Bud Atkinson?
Yes.
Sam Kinsley?
Yes.
Robert Meade?
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you very much. The amendment carries. Now we're back to the motion as amended. Am I correct? Okay, Mark?
This is my second time, even though I started earlier, I got interrupted. And I'm not going to move to amend. I think it's more of an understanding between the members on the Quorum Court. We have 6 standing committees right now.
That's correct.
I think of all these titles of these committees, there's one thing that's missing, and I think this has been mentioned before, and that's the term personnel. I would like to see, and I'm not going to move to amend, but just under the organization of the committee, that management and planning might actually change to management, planning, and personnel. That's all that's all I have for
Okay, Sam?
comment.
I move to amend, to add a personnel committee, this kind of committee.
Committee said.
Right?
The 7th committee.
Yes.
Okay.
We got a second.
Okay, we have a motion to amend. Who second? Robert. Second. Okay. Okay.
To add personnel to
7 standing
To
committee.
section 9.
Okay, now then, we have discussion on the proposed amendment. Yes.
I know that it's been talked about maybe putting planning and management / personnel. I talked to Mr. Kincaid about this earlier in the week, and he said no. He said personnel needs to be its own standing committee.
Mark,
I
it's your second time. It's your second time.
Maybe my third, I'm not even counting.
No, it's second.
Okay. I understand that and I agree with that. I think personnel is a very important committee. I just didn't want to belabor the fact that have we had 7 committees on the Quorum Court before? I mean, are we committing ourselves to that? I would say personnel would probably be the second more popular one when it comes to meeting and issues that they have to take up. So I'm not saying personnel is not important at all. I'm just saying we seem to have a lot of committees growing. But this will be a standing committee. This is not a special. Okay. I'm done.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I would just like to hear Mr. Kincaid's logic or reason why we need a committee.
I'm not here. Do you want to speak for him or you want to research it?
I would have to ask Ron.
That's what I figured. I'd say, yeah, we understand that. Yeah.
But I guess I'd like to table that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to table. Do we have a second? Okay, the motion fails for lack of a second. Okay. Anybody else want to discuss the amendment among the Quorum Court? Okay, our guest. Anyone want to have discussion before we vote on this? Okay.
Taking on the amendments that were moved for prior to the motion by Justice Connor.
Yeah.
There was discussion about amendments to this ordinance even before.
Have we voted on that?
Okay.
Yeah, we voted on that.
Yes.
It's passed. Okay, this is the next. This is the next one.
This is to add personnel.
Please call the roll for personnel committee.
Ralph Boone?
Yes.
James Whitener?
Yes.
David Thompson?
Yes.
Kara Stack?
Yes.
J.E. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mark Stephen Fowler?
Yes.
Ann Kimes?
Yes.
Bud Atkinson?
Yes.
Sam Kinsley?
Yes.
Robert Meade?
Yes.
Tony Reese?
Present.
Okay, the amendment passes. Okay, we're back to the main motion as amended twice. Discussion among the Quorum Court members. Okay, discussion among our guests. Okay, yes, sir.
George Garrett, was that word topics inserted in there or not?
I know we
Yes.
talked about it, but I didn't hear a vote on it.
Per topic.
Per copy.
Okay.
Yes.
Tom,
You
okay,
got
thank you.
Per copy. 3 minutes per copy.
Tony?
Yes.
We back to the main
Yes.
motion now. Where are we?
Yes.
Among the guests, we've already had it on here.
Oh, I guess I missed,
Discussion.
we're back.
And we're moving fast.
Well, we don't need to move so fast that everybody don't get a chance to
Okay.
have the discussion.
The only point I would like to make on the emergency ordinance is that I don't see where it meets the statutory definition of an emergency. And we tend to, from my experience from attending prior meetings, we tend to use that emergency clause way too often. Now, we already have an ordinance that is already in effect. If we don't pass one for another month, then I don't see what the emergency is. I mean, we already have a functioning procedural ordinance already in place. So what is the emergency? Why do we have, the code is very, it spelled out some conditions on what an emergency ordinance is and why we can do that. And I don't see how that meets the statutory requirements. And maybe,
Well, it's true that once you pass an ordinance, it remains in effect until it's amended or repealed. But at the same time, when I've spoken with the attorneys with the Arkansas Association of Counties, they say it's always been a good idea, anytime you have a change on your quorum court, whether it be a new judge or new JPs, it's always good to go through that formality of readopting a procedures ordinance. It's just a safe thing to do. And so they recommend it, and I see no reason not to recommend it either.
but my point is, why is it an emergency?
Well, because state law requires that you pass this ordinance. If you don't pass it, you're in violation of state law. And you're trying to conduct county business while in violation of state law.
Well, we already have an ordinance that is in effect.
But since you've had the changeover that you've had on the quorum court, I'm just telling you that their interpretation of what you should do, given the state law requirement, is always a good idea. Is it technically, are you violating the law? I'd have to ask them. But since you have had changes on the court, this is the beginning of another year, they advise that you go ahead and re-adopt your procedures ordinance. It's a good idea and a safe thing to do.
Sam?
I have a question for, on the, let's see, 9L, where we have to November, the budget in November. Isn't it kind of hard to have all the numbers in from your office sometimes, to have that, to do that?
November normally not.
Okay.
There may be one or two things, but normally by November, we've got 99.9% of all the figures and give you a good, close estimate of what the other figures are.
Okay. The reason I was asking that it's important to this, an annual budget, a detailed annual budget at the November 24th meeting.
So
Now,
that
that's
have in October, will be done with it basically by the middle of October.
So, and we got your numbers like the 1st of November, we're gonna have to hurry up to get the budget.
By that point, normally I'm down to basically calculating carryover anyway.
So you don't see any problems?
I don't see a
Okay.
problem.
I just want,
Lauren?
I wouldn't for certain if I had an extra time. Talking about this ordinance that we've talked about before, that we've amended, I understand, Justice Reese, I understand your reluctance to pass something all in one night, but this has been talked about a number of times in this room. And I do think at the first of the year, whether it's statutory or not, I think every quorum court needs to organize and have their new procedures. This new procedures that we're talking about is the same thing that's been in force the last 2 years with 3 or 4 amendments, and they're minor amendments. I see no reason why we could not read these tonight and, with the emergency clause and pass it tonight. That's the last comment I've got on this.
Yes, Teresa?
Teresa Matthews, would it not be possible simply to pass with its regular 30-day and continue working under the old one, which would be legal. As long as it's, your process is, we pass it, we give it 30 days, then I don't see a problem.
Thank you.
Call for the question.
Would you please call the roll, Kristen?
James Whiteman. David Thompson.
Yes.
Kara Stack.
Yes.
Sorry, somebody shut me down. J.E. Ward.
Yes.
Mark Stephen Fowler.
Yes.
Shannon Kynes.
Yes.
Bud Atkinson.
Yes.
Sam Kinsley.
Yes.
Robert Meek.
Yes.
Tony Reese.
Present.
Ralph Lynn.
Yes.
Okay. It passes. The next item of business is an emergency appropriation, Tony, for the library. This was discussed in the Budget and Finance Committee meeting, and Jay, would you make a motion to approve this? Okay, do I hear a second? To be read, excuse me, to be read. Do I hear a second? Okay, David seconds, okay. Do you want to read this in its entirety? It's not too long, probably need to. Let's just read the whole thing.
You said this is the library one?
Yes. I did skip the other one. We'll go back to it. We started on library, yeah.
Be enacted by the Quorum County of Boone, State of Arkansas, and Orange County, Pilot, once amending the annual budget for Boone County Library Fund Number 3008 for the fiscal year 2013, and authorizing the county judge to use such budget and for other purposes. Now therefore be ordained by the Quorum Court of Boone County, Arkansas 7, Section 1, the following appropriations are made from the Library Fund 3008. From Library 3008, Library General Fund Number 3008, $8,443. To 3008-0600-1002, Library Personal Services, Salaries Part-Time, $7,443. To 3008-0600-1003, Library Personal Services, Extra Help, $2,000. No new funds appropriated. This order to take effect on payroll starting on January 14, 2013. Changes are needed due to employment being omitted on the original 2013 budget. A list of all employees' job titles and salaries are attached. Section 2, any provision or section of the ordinance is held and invalid by the court of competent jurisdiction, such in which not affect other provisions section of this ordinance, and such in the provision and section of this ordinance are declared severable. Section 3, the emergency ordinance herein enacted is the emergency ordinance, and therefore is effective immediately.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adopt this?
I move to that.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, Sam seconds. Okay, discussion. Mark?
This particular ordinance, appropriation ordinance that we're talking about, did it come out of the Finance Committee with a positive or negative vote?
Positive vote, unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Sam? Karen?
Look, Andrew.
Are we? Or did we?
Thank you, hair.
My question would be, if we did not pass this as an emergency, would this person be able to get paid? I believe this was a story time assistant.
Most of these ordinances, appropriation ordinances are not listed as, and they never have been listed.
They should not,
Emergency.
that should not have emergency.
That should be
on it.
emergency.
We need to amend that out. We need
Can
to
I make
amend
a
that out.
motion to amend to remove the emergency clause, please?
Tony, are you okay for Baker? Sam seconds.
I say, oh,
Here. To amend this emergency out, it confuses things. It should not be in it.
Can I make a quick point?
Yes.
Be careful in the future, since we're on the discussion of emergency ordinances.